The Super Bowl is 6 days away. Will we get lucky and have it come down to a last-minute play, or is this one poised to be a blowout? We'll discuss that and a whole lot more right now. This is Offside Sports. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Offside Sports. We're live from the Loft 100 studios in Southern California, presented by Turtlebox Audio. Check out their incredible lineup of portable speakers at turtleboxaudio.com. And, of course, thanks to Turf & Sons for the turf we sit upon. Turf & Sons, San Diego's #1 choice for turf installation. Find them at turfandsons.com. All right, kids, 6 days away from the Super Bowl. Or as we have to say, Dave, when we were working, Allison, terrestrial radio, the big game.
Yes.
Which is brilliant. I think brilliant on the part of the NFL to say, wait a second, we're going to copyright the Super Bowl, and you're not allowed to say it unless you want to pay for it. We got the Seahawks, and we've got the New England Patriots. I believe Seahawks right now still a 4.5-point favorite. For those of you that really give a rat's a about these little minute details, New England is the home team, and they're wearing white and white. Got a big problem with that. Seattle, the away team, they're going to wear their navy, and their navy game kicks off at 3:30. We'll be talking a lot of Super Bowl here on this episode of Offside Sports. We will give our Super Bowl picks at the end of the show. But as I said in the open, CJ, you think we're going to get lucky and get another, oh my God, nail biter, white knuckle it till the end? Or would you say you could see this one getting blown open?
Well, we'll get into what the final result I think is going to be in a little bit. I remember thinking back last year when we were watching the Eagles and the Chiefs, and we're like, this is exactly the Super Bowl we wanted. This year, not so much as far as the teams. You didn't think that these were the two teams that were the best at the beginning of the year.
Sure.
And last year was an absolute blowout.
Yep.
But the beauty of this Super Bowl is, and we've seen a lot of poor weather games.
Yeah.
At least they're going to be up in Levi, and at least we're going to get some good weather. And
Totally.
I just think it's going to come down to potentially maybe a 1-yard play where the Seahawks have to decide whether they're going to throw it at the goal line or not. And
would that be awesome?
It would be a storybook ending.
Allison, you sent us that interesting tidbit. Both teams before the season began, 60-1 odds to make the Super Bowl. And the year before, not very good. And look what they have done in a year's time. Both these teams turn it around. Seahawks certainly did not. New England certainly did not look like they were going to go to the Super Bowl when the year began. They lost to the Raiders. And now look at them 6 days away from possibly a world championship.
Yeah, I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. I think that these are two teams that have worked really hard to get there. At the end of the day, they're both professional football teams. And, the Seattle defense, I think the New England defense has really come on strong. And it's like the year of the big D. I don't know. It's wild to see it be, we were such an offense, the NFL is such an offense-driven league until this season, it felt like. And I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than people think.
Dave, we've always talked about defense travels.
Yes.
And defense wins championships. Could you see this being a blowout, or do you think we're going to get a close one?
You know what? I keep thinking the NFL, nothing's ever rigged, right? People want to say when things don't go their way that it's rigged, but I don't think it's rigged. What I feel, Mike, honestly, is that it's going to be closer than we think. As much as I didn't want to give New England credit because, you have a second-year quarterback and a first-year head coach and an easy schedule, New England has still gone through and gotten to where everyone said they couldn't be. So I think it's going to be a closer game. Obviously the Seahawks are playing outstanding football. The NFC has been better than the AFC all year long.
Good.
And I think CJ was the first one on the show to say, look at Seattle. When I'm sitting there pushing Rams, he's like Seattle every single week. And Seattle has been outstanding and impressive during the postseason.
Yeah.
There are a couple things in this thing as you talk about different things that we say to keep an eye on. No quarterback with the initials DM has won a Super Bowl, right? They're 0-2, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then you go, okay, can Drake May do it? No quarterback with 4 letters in his last name has ever won a Super Bowl. All these crazy things. You'll get into the uniform thing, but the teams with the white jerseys have done better than the teams with the dark jerseys.
Yep.
You know, a couple things to look at, though, is there are 3 guys who are going to be mentioned this week, right? It's Pete Carroll for obviously not running the ball the last time these 2 teams played in a Super Bowl.
Sure.
It's Gerard Mayo, who was a 1-year coach, one and done at the Patriots, who will never be a head coach again after what Mike Vrabel's done.
Yep.
Geno Smith, who might be the worst player in the history of the NFL because the team he was quarterback of a year ago is now in the Super Bowl, and the team he was quarterback this year now is the first pick in the draft. But Mike Vrabel is quoted as saying in an interview, if I ever win a Super Bowl, I will cut off my manhood. And that's why everybody should be rooting for the Patriots to see if Mike Vrabel's a liar. Let's see it. Put it on the table, literally.
Somebody brings him a machete in the post-game victory press conference.
Preseason, if anyone had said to you it's going to be Drake May against Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl.
No way.
I don't know. We probably all would have been like, what? You're crazy.
I really thought that this was Josh Allen's year. I thought he was poised, you know, and we know what happened to them. It's funny because after the NFC championship game, I guess Matthew Stafford was heard screaming in the Rams locker room, you know, this was an effing layup of a Super Bowl. You know, we couldn't. That's how much I think people. You just alluded to it. How much better the NFC was than the AFC this year. You know, going to the uniform thing. And does it mean anything when you get down to brass tacks? No. You got to roll the ball out there and play. Patriots 4-2, wearing the white jerseys. Seattle 0-2, wearing the dark and the dark. So those are things that maybe the bettors we think of when they're throwing money on it. I just think about Mike Vrabel's experience as a player in this game. Now you get a lot of teams like those Brady teams. All those guys had like 2 and 3 Super Bowls under their belt. They knew how to deal with arriving at the host city, the events of opening night that they have now, and today and tomorrow they'll go through the media crush at their hotels. Thursday they're dark. Friday most teams move to a different hotel. Saturday obviously you're not sleeping, getting ready for the game. But I think of Mike Vrabel being able to kind of impart that on his players, Dave. Does that give them a significant advantage? I
think it's big. Honestly, I do. Because Mike Vrabel, number one, as a player, has experienced it, understands looking at things before he's a player.
Yep.
As a coach, how would I sit there? He must have played the game. If I'm a coach, how am I going to relay the information?
Yep.
Interesting thing is he was a linebacker for the Patriots, scored 3 touchdowns.
Crazy, right?
Crazy, right? Yeah. That he has scored 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
Did so for the Chiefs, too, when he went to the Chiefs.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, really pretty incredible of what he has done, getting a team ready. But, Mike, you and I have been lucky enough to cover a lot of Super Bowls. And how many times have guys told you after the first quarter they were completely exhausted, they couldn't breathe, because so much adrenaline comes up getting ready for a game, and everyone says you got to keep it as normal as you can.
Right.
But they're out. They said they're out of gas by the second quarter, that they're spent. They're done. And I think that's where it comes into his experience talking to these guys about how to go about the game.
Allison, you've covered Super Bowls, too, as a member of the media, and you've been to those hotels when the players are all seated at a table and, you're sticking a microphone in their face yet again, and they all, at one point, have that certain look where they're going, I don't want to talk about the game anymore. I just want to roll it out there and play.
Yeah. My favorite part was covering the halftime show press conference during the week at Radio Row. I love doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think they're exhausted by the time it comes around. And I don't know, I have mixed feelings about the 2-week break. I think some guys probably love it that are maybe healing up from an injury like Drake May's shoulder. But I think in general, they probably just want to get it. They want to get to it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of waiting around.
CJ, do you like the waiting around before a baseball game, or are you like, come on, let's go?
The waiting around before a baseball game, absolutely not. But I think that the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl is necessary. I mean, you at least get like we got the Pro Bowl tonight, and it used to be a lot better. But
yeah, totally.
Now they put it in between, so you kind of get a little thing there. But you love the build-up. I mean, it is the big game. So, let's have this massive build-up towards the big game.
Yeah, and another thing people don't realize, too, is that a lot of teams, they take that week to get families, hotels, tickets, all of that crap out of the way so that when they touch down in the host city, there's nothing to distract the players, and then there is that go-to team of people within the organization. If a family is having an issue with anything like a hotel room or wait, I can't get my tickets or things like that, the people go to those people. They don't go knocking on the door of Mike Vrabel's room saying, "Hey, Uncle Mike, what the hell? Something wrong with something wrong's with my tickets." All right, we'll be talking a lot of Super Bowl on this episode of of Offside Sports. The coaching carousel in the NFL apparently has made all of its stops, once again illustrating the fact that the Rooney Rule is about the dumbest thing in pro football. We'll dive into that next as Offside Sports rolls on right after this.